Yeah, I think, it's a lot of artists, a lot of people are afraid of AI and don't understand it and haven't used it. I would highly recommend that any creative person try it and see if it's a tool they might want to use in their practice in some way. I think one thing that people don't maybe know that they can do, and that I have a lot of artist friends who do, is you can actually put your art into the AI software and play with it in there. You can use your own art, blend it with other pieces of your own work or other images that you find. You can train your own models with your own art and create that way. I have a lot of friends, painter friends, who they sometimes will use a painting and then transform it using AI, or vice versa. They'll create something in AI and then use that as an inspiration for a painting. So I think if you sort of broaden your mind and think of it as a paintbrush or software like Photoshop, where you can use it to enhance your practice, it's not as scary, and it doesn't seem like, oh, this is this autonomous thing that just creates these things. It's you as the artist using it as a tool and working with it to create and enhance your vision. It's very, very inspiring. I think just in general, art and artists are inspiring, but as a creator myself and someone who's come back to my art practice after a number of years of sort of putting it away on a shelf, it's been wonderful to meet and be friends with and collaborate with and curate so many artists. I learn from them. I am inspired by them, and I love collaborating, whether it's me collaborating with someone or just like trying to connect artists that I think might work well together or do something interesting together. So yeah, I think the more artists I meet, especially the younger ones, I'm sort of on the older side, I think, in this sort of digital art, AI, Web3 world. And so it's wonderful to see all of these younger folks so excited, really embracing all of these new technologies in a way that sometimes some of the older folks are a little bit wary or hesitant. So I love that energy and that enthusiasm. Yeah, and I think there's a justifiable reason why they feel that way, right? The fine art world has typically been very exclusionary towards illustration, design, things like that. I think that's changing a lot. At MoMA, for example, they have a whole department for design. One of their acquisitions was the original set of emojis that were invented ever. They acquire video games, they acquire all kinds of things, and I think the art world, the sort of traditional art world, fine art world, whatever you want to call it, is really opening up more to illustration, to design, to fashion, to video games, computer art, all of these things. And I think, those younger folks or not younger folks, but anybody who is doing something like that should be bold and be brave and try to push it forward, because I think it's going to take people, showing these museums and these art fairs and whatever, that they're doing really creative, innovative work. It's not just, commercial work, for example. Not that there's anything wrong with commercial work, like that's how a lot of creative people make their money, but that there is a validity to this work in terms of ascending it to museums and galleries and things like that. And that a lot of times it's very cool to see illustration or graphic design in dialogue with paintings, sculptures, all of these things. There's a lot of really great exhibitions that I've seen where they put these different mediums together and create these juxtapositions and these conversations. So yeah, I think don't be afraid and just keep pushing. That's my advice. Yeah. Well, I think, obviously if somebody uses AI to just straight up copy somebody else's artwork or style, that is not only unethical, but it's boring, right? Like if you're not doing something new and interesting with it, then that's not art, right? That's a copy, that's whatever. So there's that. I think on top of that, and artists differ on this. I have artist friends who are like, it's just a tool. A painter doesn't feel like they need to say, I use this type of oil paint or I use that. Like, I don't feel the need to announce what types of AI programs I use. I personally do always disclose when I use AI in my work, just because I feel like it's an interesting and new technology, and some people love it, some people hate it, some people aren't sure what to make of it, but I want to be transparent about, especially since some of my work is very photorealistic and you might think it's a photograph. I want people to know a part of the concept behind a lot of my work is that this isn't a real photograph. This is an imagined photograph, right? It was made using AI, sometimes with my own actual photographs, but as the source. But yeah, so I think transparency goes a long way in terms of the naysayers or the people that think, there's a problem with using AI. Okay, I put it on my, the description of my work, and if you don't want to collect it or you don't want to like it for that reason, that's fine. There are plenty of people that enjoy it exactly for that reason, because it's an emerging technology and it's interesting and it has its own quirks, just like any tool or medium. So yeah, those are the two things I would say. That's a good question. It's not cliched. I don't think so. I think what I conjecture will happen is that some illustrators will wind up incorporating it into their work process and have it be a part of their tool set, right? Some won't. Some will just continue their practice the way that it is, and that's fine. I think AI already is and will continue to create a proliferation of images, right? You can do so much so fast with it. But I think that's where taste and concept and having a vision, right, comes into play as an artist or as a creator, as an illustrator, as a designer. And you still need a human for that, right? I don't see a future where the AI will have taste and emotion and, maybe, but we're definitely ways off from that. So yeah, I don't think it's the end of illustration. If anything, I think, people who are a little worried about it should explore it. Just see what it is. They may wind up, realizing, oh, actually, this is going to, help me in my practice, or this is going to make it faster for me in terms of when I have client work to do or whatever, and not view it as something that's going to, take away their livelihood, because I don't think that has to be the case. It's a totally valid question, and I get the fear. I get it, and. Yeah, I just think, just like any new technology, right? Like when photography came about, people were like, that's not an art, what is that, And the little snapshots that you take on vacation mostly aren't art, right? But there are some fine art photographers that have elevated their work, and their work is in museums and this and that. So it's just a matter of how it's used. And I think it's also super fun. People should just dive in and try it, because, you may or may not like it, but it's a lot of fun to play with and just kind of understand how it works.